this video, I'm going to show you the one thing that is the easiest and most simple thing that you can do so that you can be consistently signing up 20 new members into your gym every single month. And after the first 6 months of 2025, this exact thing has helped my 4 gyms average 28 new members every single month, which is about the same as signing up $20,000 in new contracted revenue consistently every single month. Now we're going to start by talking about inputs, and I want to start by talking an analogy that probably resonates with you as a fitness professional. Let's say that you have a client and their goal is to add 20 pounds of muscle. You give them the perfect workouts, you give them the perfect nutrition plan. So the output that we're trying to get is 20 pounds of muscle. You give them all of the proven systems, aka your workouts and the nutrition plan, and what they have to do is they have to put in the input. Now the input for them in terms of putting on 20 pounds of muscle is going to be making sure they're getting in their workouts and making sure that they're eating enough protein. Let's say that they do one of those things. Let's say that they follow your workout plan perfectly and they're getting in, whatever it is, 4 workouts per week, exactly as you prescribed. But let's say that their input of protein isn't enough. Maybe your target that you've given to them is 150 grams of protein that they need to eat every single day, but they're only hitting 75 grams. Do you think that the output that they're going to get is going to be to add 20 pounds of muscle? It's not. They're going to fall short. We know that we have that output. You've given them the systems, but they haven't put in the right input in order to add that 20 pounds of muscle. The exact same happens in your gym with respect to business and specifically talking about paid ads. So with clients that I work with in my Elite Gym Systems program, our goal is to get them where they are consistently signing up 20 new members every single month. So we know that the output is 20 new members every single month. I give them the proven systems that we can plug into their gym. That's everything they need to be successful. But sometimes a gym owner falls short in putting the inputs into the system. So let's reverse engineer this so you can see what I'm talking about. Let's say that your goal is to sign up 20 new members a month. Now, let's say that your close rate with the people that you talk to over the phone or that you sit down with to talk about your membership, let's say it's 50%. So that means you need to have 40 calls or you need to sit down with 40 people to ultimately get 20 new members. Now, let's say that your show rate is 60%. If your show rate is 60%, that means you either need to book 67 calls or 67 appointments in order to get to that 20 new members. Now, let's say your booking rate is 30%. If your booking rate is 30%, then that means that you need 223 leads. And this is where a lot of gym owners fall short because this part from here to here, this is just the proven systems that will deliver the members. But we need to make sure that we have the input correct because if you don't have the input, you're not going to get the output. So let's walk through this in a little bit more detail. Now, before we move on and looking at some real data, let's say that your cost per lead is $18. That's about the average that I see with a lot of gym owners if they're running decent ads, etc. That means that you need to spend $4,020 in the course of a month or $134 a day to get 20 new members. Because if you do that, if you spend $134 a day, you would get at $18 a lead, you're going to get 223 leads. You're going to book 30% of them into appointments. That's 67. 60% of them are going to show up. That means you're going to talk to 40 and you're going to close half of them, which leaves you to 20 new members. Now, where do most gym owners fall short? They don't do this. They spend $25 a day or $40 a day. And all of this is working for them, but they're not putting enough input into the system to get the output that they're looking for. And a lot of the times, as long as you have the proven systems, all you need to do is crank up that dial and increase the input. Now, let's go through some real data that'll probably nail this home for you. So I pulled some data, I averaged data from my 4 gyms through 6 months of the year. I took out the summer because summer we change our marketing strategy because it's slow. So we adjust how we're doing it. But the other months of the year, everything is exactly the same. In January, we signed up 26 members. I'm going to skip all this. You can see the data's there. We signed up 26 members, but we spent $4,172 on ads. In February, we signed up 28 members. We spent $2,500 on ads. In March, we signed up 28 members. We spent $3,500 on ads. Keep in mind, this is in each gym. This isn't across all 4. This is every single gym. In April, we signed up 38 members. We spent $4,000. In May, 21 members. We spent $3,400. And in September, 24 members. We spent almost $3,700. So you can see what we spent. So this was the input, which then produced the leads, which we then booked, which then showed, which we then closed. Now, when you calculate the cost to acquire a client, that means it is $129. So it cost us in each of our 4 gyms $129 to sign up a new member. So let's now talk about your ad spend. If you knew that it cost you $129 to get a new member, that means that if you spend $25 a day on your ads, that's your input, then your output would be about 6 members. If you spend $50 a day on your ads, that's your input, your output is going to be 12 members. $75 a day would get you to about 17 members, and $100 a day would get you to about 23 members. Now, keep in mind, this isn't black and white. Okay, this is a spectrum. These are averages that you're going to use, that you can use to get to these numbers. But the point being is a lot of times a gym owner might have the system and they're trying to get to 20 new members a month, but we're just not putting in the input. And they're spending $25 a day, but then they're wondering why they're not signing up 20 new members. Your input just isn't big enough. Now, if you're spending $75 a day or more, it's not impossible, but it's going to be very challenging to hit 20 new members per month. So what I mean by that is there are some gyms where we can spend $50 a day just because of their region, their demographics, etc., and they can get to 20 new members a month. But on average, for most gym owners, it's not going to get you there. And therefore, we need to make sure that the input is big enough in order to get the output. Now, the elephant in the room for most gym owners is, but I can't afford to spend that much. You've seen the numbers that we spent to get these numbers, and that's very similar with all the clients that I work with that are hitting 20 new member months. They're spending $3,000 a month on their ads, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, but on average, it's around that ballpark. But for some gym owners, the first thing they're going to say is, I can't afford to spend that much on ads. So what do we need to do? What we need to do is you need to collect enough cash upfront to cover your ad spend. Now, how do you do this? You could do this in a couple of different ways. You could get people to prepay for their membership. Let's say you sign them up into a 12-month program. You could get them to prepay that membership. Maybe you give them a discount where it's like, buy 10 months, I'll give you 2 for free, and I'll walk through a few more numbers in a moment. Another thing you could do is maybe you sign them initially into a 12-week program. Get them to pay for that 12 weeks upfront, because now if you collect some upfront cash from these people, rather than having them pay weekly or pay monthly, now you have that cash in your pocket that can cover your ad spend. When they're paying weekly or monthly, you're getting that slowly over time, and that can cause a cash flow constraint, especially with regards to your ads. But if you can collect that all up front, now you have the money to pour back into your ad spend. Now, this is what I like to do as an evergreen prepaid option. I like to sell buy 10 months and get 2 free. So if a client were to do that, and let's say you were charging $39.99 a week, then that means this program right here is worth $1,760. So if you sold 2 of those, that would drive $3,500 into your gym every single month. Imagine if you did that every single month. Right there, that's your ad spend. That's the equivalent of spending $117 a day. Then if you were able to do that every single month, you have your ad spend already covered. You know that now you can turn up the dial on your ad spend. Your input is going to be high enough so that your output is now 20 new members every single month. Now, if you're struggling to sell these prepaid memberships, maybe currently you just don't quite have the volume, maybe your sales skills aren't quite strong enough, then what you could do is you could make it a sliding scale and make it even sexier. So you could create a buy 8, get 4 months for free. If you did that and your membership was the equivalent of $39.99 a week, then that would bring in $1,360 per membership. If you sold 2 of them, it would bring in $2,700. Now, if you were still struggling a little bit, you could do buy 6, get 6. It's really sexy. It's heavily discounted, but this might be the thing that you need in order to drive that money that then you can turn around, put it into your ads, so that you can actually be hitting 20 new member months, which would actually allow you to grow. And 6 months later, your gym has now exploded. And now you don't even have to worry about this because you're profitable enough where you can just afford to spend $3,000 a month on your ads. Now, let's walk through what this could look like over a 3-month period of time. In month one, let's say it is month one. And right now you can only afford to spend $50 a day on your ads, which is about $1,500 a month. If you do that, okay, and you have the right systems in place, what that's going to do is your output is going to be about 12 members. It might be 10, it might be 14, but it's going to be somewhere in that neck of the woods. But you want to get to 20 new members a month, but your input isn't big enough because you can't afford to do it. So what do? You could try to sell 2 of these people. You sign up 12 new members, get 2 of them to pay you a prepaid membership that is buy 6, get 6. That's going to drive $2,000 into your gym. Well, guess what? You already had a $1,500 budget for your ads. Now for the next month, you can increase that to $3,500 if you want, because you just generated $2,000. So the next month, all of a sudden, now you can turn up your dial and you can spend $100 a day on your ads. Well, guess what? As long as you have the systems in place, the output of that is going to be 20 members. Might be 18, might be 24, but it's going to be somewhere in that neck of the woods. Then what you could do is you still sell 2 of them on that prepaid membership, and that would drive another $2,000. So now you've signed up 20 new members. 18 of them could go on your monthly recurring revenue or your EFT. 2 of them is the prepaid membership. And just like that, now you've covered your ad spend again. And then the next month, you do it again. You spend $100 a day. You're going to get 20 members, maybe even more. And now, because you're growing, now you can start to increase the price of that prepaid membership. Now you could go up to the buy 8, get 4. You could do that for a couple months. And as you're getting traction and getting consistent, then you could go to the buy 10, get 2, because you don't have a cash flow issue anymore. And you could see that as you do this, now you're hitting your 20 new member months. You're going to be growing. You're going to now have the profitability. And now this engine is going to run itself. So to recap, you need to first make sure that you have the systems in place that would produce the output. In this case, let's say that output is signing up 20 new members. Once you have the systems in place, it's imperative that you make sure that your input is strong enough to produce the output. Just like your client whose goal is to put on 20 pounds of muscle, if they're only eating 75 grams of protein, they're not going to get the output of putting on 20 pounds of muscle. But if they increase that to the prescribed 150 grams of protein, then all of a sudden, they're going to hit their target. The exact same is with your business and with your ad spend. One of the absolute easiest things you can do is just make sure you turn up your ad spend to the right amount, around $100 a day, that would produce the 20 new member months, assuming that you have the right systems, the right offer, etc., to produce that output of 20 new members. And then if you can't spend that much, you just need to adopt a system like this where you're making sure you're collecting enough cash up front that would cover your ad spend for the next month, and you do it again and you do it again. 6 months later, your gym will have exploded. You'll be massively profitable, and you'll wonder why you didn't start doing this years ago. Now, I've got a community for gym owners that are looking to scale to 20 new member months. In it is a bunch of free resources that you can use to get started. The link's in the description. It's free to join.